Hey, it's your dad here, and this year we took our first family trip to Japan, and though we barely scratched the surface, we loved it. Here is my list of the favorite things I saw. First up is Team Lab Planets. I've been in AV for 11 years now. I've even dabbled in some projection mapping, but this is next level. This is interactive art. From finding your way through a maze of lit spheres, to walking barefoot through waters that have fish projected onto them, to this room that feels like it goes on forever, and with the app, you can actually interact with the lights. This whole experience that took about 2.5 hours to go through is too much for words. You just have to experience it. It's wondrous. Next up is something I didn't know existed: Japanese curry. I'm really mad at all of you for not telling me this existed throughout my life. Japanese curry consists of a curry, rice, and some kind of cutlet. I chose pork every time. This so quickly became one of my favorite meals, it's now in our family dinner rotation. I found a pretty decent version of the curry in all the major grocery stores. Even found it at Epcot. Which leads me to my next favorite thing, and of course you knew, it's gotta be Disney. I only got to spend 2 hours in Disneyland Tokyo, and that's fine because they still had their evening passes, so it was only $30 to get in. But even in that short time, I discovered how much better the Japanese do Disney. Just compare the Winnie the Pooh ride there with the two we have in the United States. It's not even a close comparison. Plus, they don't just have one big castle, they have two. Then there's DisneySea. I have wanted to go here for a very, very long time, and it was everything that I hoped it would be. We only spent about 8 hours here, because like I said, we were just scratching the surface of traveling Japan. But every inch of this park is themed, and themed well. People aren't lying that this is the best Disney park in the world, and I cannot wait to go back and spend more time there. The next spot has something for everybody, and that's Miyajima Island. But first up, make sure that you are visiting at least some of the time at high tide, because you want it to look like this, and not like this. I mean, it's still cool, but it's not as great as a photo opportunity. For me, with my love of the outdoors, I wanted to go to the top of Mount Misa. If I had the time, I could have hiked up there, as there are tons of trails all over the island. But the ropeway is going to save you some sore legs. While the ropeway doesn't take you to the top of Mount Misa, it does take you to a lookout that is very competitive for the view. And there's no hiking involved. But I do love to hike, and I read that the best bet to see monkeys on this island was at the peak. So I started heading up to catch up with my wife and son who had already left. Now this isn't Half Dome or anything, but it's not an easy hike either. It's a 2-mile round-trip hike, obviously, with about a 400-foot elevation gain. The kicker is that it's also going to be very hot and humid, but it is kind of worth it. Just below the top is the Eternal Fire Hall. This fire has been burning for 1,200 years. That's astounding. When I finally reached the top, which took about 30 minutes, alas, there were no monkeys. But you did have a beautiful 360 view. The next great experience was the Sagano Romantic Train. Less romantic with a family of 4, but still worth it. This experience consists of 2 25-minute train rides out and back between Arashiyama and Kamioka along the Hosogawa River. This was a great experience for the whole family, we all loved it. They're even really good about making sure you sit on the opposite side of the train for each direction you go. So between the 2 trips you get a good view of all the sights. I've read that the 2 most popular times to go on this train is 1 in the fall and 2 during cherry blossom season. I was planning on seeing more of Japan on my next trip, but thinking about this trip at either one of those times of the year, I think I'm gonna have to come back and do this as well. If you get off the train before it makes its way all the way back to Arashiyama, you'll find yourself within a bamboo forest. This is far enough up the hill that there are fewer people up there, as most people walk into the forest from Arashiyama. But if you keep going up the trail, you'll find fewer and fewer people until you're pretty much alone. We had already walked through the bamboo forest a couple of days earlier. This afternoon of exploring the outdoors was one of my favorite experiences. The next thing I really loved about Japan is that everywhere you look is a work of art. Japan is the most photogenic place I've ever been. I mean, it tops Yosemite for photo opportunities. The buildings are beautiful. The gardens are perfectly manicured. There is a reason why it's so popular on Instagram. But speaking as your dad, stop to really take it in. Honestly, that's one of my favorite things about my Insta360 camera. They don't sponsor me, but I do tell everyone how much I love this camera. Because 1, the camera allows me to just walk around and really experience where I'm at. And 2, I actually get to be in the footage. You don't know how many family vacation videos I've made over the years that I only have about 3 pictures in. Back to the scenery though, even the cities are gorgeous. I recognize that some of the photogenicness, if that's a word, is just that it's so different from the West and especially the United States. But I challenge you in the comments to name a place that's more photogenic than Japan. And while you're down at that part of the page, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Got lots of interesting trips coming up, plus I still have more Japan to share. And with that, I will see you next time.